everyone, and welcome to Behind the Streams. I'm adorably Rini. I'm the COO and do communications and operations for StreamerSquare, and I'm a co-host of this wonderful modcast, telling you all sorts of fun things that you can do to help your stream. That's kind of like the behind-the-scenes aspect of it. And today we've got an amazing topic. We're going to be talking about avatar streaming and FaceRig with two really great experts in this. Well, a very good expert and someone who's just learning herself and therefore has very good experiences on what it's like to start it out with it. And then I also have with me my super bright, amazing, cheery co-host, Karli Cartoons. Karli, tell us about yourself.
Hi y'all, my name's Karli. I'm an animator in Los Angeles. I do cartoons and things. You can see one of the things I've worked on Netflix if you watch The Midnight Gospel. I'm here today with Rini to co-host because, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to learn. So I actually know nothing about FaceRig. I've just heard about it. I've started seeing people's rigs and their characters. I've seen like less complicated rigs before using Adobe Character Animate, but I've just now started seeing FaceRig stuff, and so I'm gonna pick this apart, y'all. Oh yeah, so ready. Why don't y'all introduce yourselves?
You want to go first, Buff?
I was just like I was just like staring. Hi, I'm BuffPup. I'm a pup who is buff, and I do things. Sometimes I don't know. We'll figure it out. Sometimes I do FaceRigs and character animations and also illustrations and stuff, and it's really fun. I've been doing art for like 10 years, and then I got into streaming, and now I'm stuck here forever. So here I am.
I am FrankthePegasus, and I am brand new to FaceRig, but I actually worked with BuffPup, so we'll have a lot of like probably good information, I think, on how to coordinate all of that. But I'm a streamer here on Twitch as well, and sometimes I use my FaceRig instead of my face.
Yeah. So if you tuned in yesterday to the stream scene, we talked about, Hunter and Loco talked about camless streaming. And so one of the things that came up was avatar streaming and FaceRig and VTuber. So we're going to get into all of that today. And so for both Frank and Buff, we'll start out with BuffPup. Why did you choose to go with an avatar? Why did you choose to go camless for this?
Well, it's kind of like a sucky story, but like it's a good one. So when I first started streaming, I used a webcam, and I'm female presenting to the eyes, so I got harassed a lot, and it was not fun. For like 2 or 3 months, it was just constant like harassment, and I was just like, well, this is poo. Like, I didn't think it was going to be like this. And then I already had the name BuffPup, and I was just like, oh, I'll just make a character based around that, and that's kind of where the character came out, is that I made a dog that was buff, and I was just like, that's good. And then it kind of just developed from there.
That's so cute.
Did you do FaceRig? Like, did you work with FaceRig before, or was it a static image when you first started?
When I first started, I just had like a picture. Like, I drew an illustration, and I just had it there for like, I think like a couple weeks. And then I actually did not rig this one. I drew all this, but I had someone else rig it. And then I was like, oh, that's actually really cool. Like, I want to try to do that. And then I kind of taught myself how to start rigging them and stuff.
Cool.
That's so awesome.
So Frank, you just switched. So like, why was this something you wanted to do?
So I don't use my FaceRig every single day, but I have been in the habit of doing what we call no cam streams, I guess, which is literally just a stream without my camera on. And as somebody who does a lot of facial expressions and is just kind of an animated person on camera, I think I was just losing some connectivity with my audience that way. And so I'd known that people who did FaceRig streams like Buff and a good friend of mine, Pictobeam, existed. And I kind of reached out to see if that was something that I could do, because I had looked through FaceRig's kind of default characters, I guess, and just didn't resonate with any of them. And that's kind of why I started doing the FaceRig streams, just so that there was kind of something on stream that was moving in a way that felt like I was still there without needing all of my lights on and all of the bells and whistles. And sometimes you just don't want to go through the ridicule of being on camera, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we know Buff picked hers because of the name BuffPup, so that kind of evolved into that. tell us more about your character. It's not really a character, it's just you with an avatar face, correct? Or it's not you personally, but
It's not actually me at all. It's kind of like the mascot, I guess, of our channel. We have two, and one is Narf, who's a Pegasus, which makes sense. And you'd think that I would have gone with that, but I actually felt like the cat would give better facial expressions. And that's actually based on my late cat Buddy. So it's all of our emotes most of our emotes are that cat, and that's what I chose to go with because it just felt like it fit better, I guess, with the vibe of the stream. And like I said, I felt like there could be more facial expressions with a cat's face rather than a horse face. So
That's so cute. Oh my gosh.
I agree. It was such a fun character to work on. I'm a sucker for like blobby characters that just look like a blob. And so like when I was making it, I was really excited. It was really fun.
Oh, so you made Frank's avatar.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how awesome.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's all
so we
full
know
circle.
it looks great.
yeah.
That's so cool.
And so, like, since Frank's is just the emote talking as Frank, this is you still on camera.
Mhm.
Buff, is this like an actual character, like persona that you're creating for your streams, or is it still, do you feel like just you on the stream?
I feel like it's a bit of both because like I feel like I'm more hyperactive playing as on stream because of normal day life. I'm just kind of like, okay, I guess I'll just go get coffee and I guess I'll just do whatever. But like on stream, I'm like, woo, let's go! Like, and so like in a way, it's kind of it's me, but just I guess like just like times 10, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's so awesome.
It kind of gives you the freedom to do that too without any ridicule because nobody actually sees you being that animated. It's almost like they expect it out of a character, I think. Like
Oh
they
yeah, for
expect to
sure.
see like an animated character like being kind of zippy and off the walls and a little bit loony maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to ask actually, so like your answer might be yes on this, but do you feel like using an avatar gives you more comfort or freedom as a content creator?
Oh yeah, because like as an illustrator, I love the fact that I can just put art on the stream. And so like we have an idea that we want to do where somebody can redeem points to make my character's like leg pop up on the stream, which I just thought was really funny. But like the fact that we can do stuff like that is like really fun. And also the perk of like getting up 10 minutes before stream and not having to look a certain way is really nice.
Yes. I can definitely like plus a million that one. It's so nice to just know that your face isn't going to be on camera and there's no like presentation that you have to put forward. I feel like, I mean, obviously there's just a lot of pressure, especially for female presenting creators to look a certain way on camera. I'm sure that male presenting creators kind of have a similar thing in some capacity, but I think that we can all agree that the pressure is just there to make sure your hair is done, maybe your makeup is done, because it just invites people to criticize the way that we look and without needing to worry about any of that and just showing up. And there are definitely days that I would not be live if it weren't for being able to just like throw on FaceRig and say, let's just do this anyway, because the idea of putting in all of that effort ahead of time was way too much. But knowing that I can take all of that off of my plate and just go live without it is so nice.
Yeah. It's one of those things that like, that's what drew me to wanting to get FaceRig when it went on sale, is just the fact that like, there feels like there's more freedom in that, and I don't have to just always be me, sort of say. Like I don't have to turn myself on and be this animated person that is reliant on Rini. I could potentially be someone else for a little bit or be a part of me and not have to like feel like I have to give all of myself to a stream at all time. My cat has opinions right now. Sorry.
Your cat's like, you should do this and you should be me. I want to be on camera.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, is your FaceRig Rini gonna be your kitty?
That's one of the things I consider, because it's like that's one of the things that deciding what character to do and what avatar you want is really interesting, because like my emotes are all red pandas. I've started to adopt more and more of liking possums and like the screaming possum meme.
Yeah.
But possums have that pointed face, so it's like how the mechanics of having an unusual snout for a FaceRig character, like how does that work, Buff? Like
Oh gosh. So if you want to, the way that it works is that like you're basically taking a like a 2D image and manipulating it. So if you had something really long, like a possum nose, you'd probably cut it up into like 4 parts so that when you turn it, you would layer those 4 parts so it looks like 3D, but it's actually just like a long indentation of like 4 different pictures. It gets like pretty complicated. Like somebody did like horns on like a demon lady, and they were like, "Oh my god, this horn was like 16 different parts," and I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "I can't even think that far ahead."
Wow, that's Like, tell us a bit more, like, with what goes into making this, because I know people have asked that too. Like, how, like, does it take days, weeks, months to create a character?
I would say like with Frank's character, it was pretty simple. So it didn't really take that long. It probably took like 3 days max to make that one. But if you took like an anime character that has like really long hair and like accessories and clothes and stuff, I feel like if you're not that comfortable with the program, it might take maybe like up to a month to do it. But if you're pretty comfortable, I could say like a week or 2. It would probably be a good assumption to that. It's just a lot of making sure that if you manipulate these 2D images that they don't break halfway through, and then sometimes the program breaks, and then so it's just all that kind of stuff. But it's really fun.
Yeah, it's one of, like, I looked a little bit at their website and the instructions and such, and it was, I'll say, daunting for me, but I'm also like, I'm not an illustrator, I'm not an animator. Like, I do very basic Photoshop graphics, and so like FaceRig seems intimidating for first time people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it definitely is.
I have an animation question for y'all, if that's okay. So I'm not sure if you've used like other animation software before, but how user friendly would you say the UI is? Do y'all have like, do you have like a node view or an outliner for all of your rigs, or do you have like a bone visual representation of the bones?
So it uses keyframes, kind of like
Oh.
I would say like Adobe like Flash, like a really long time ago. So basically you have the 2D image, and then it has a box around it with a whole bunch of like dots on it, and you can take those dots and like squish them around and stuff. And then you put the keyframe to, like, let's say you want to put it to the right side. You would do that, and then you would manipulate what you want to manipulate and then push it to the other side, and you kind of have to do every like up, down, left, right, and then you have to make it recognize that when you put those all together, that it'll make like a full circle and stuff like that.
That's really cool. So
yeah, it's really cool. It's fine.
You like map animations to your face, then, is kind of how that works.
Yeah, kind of. It doesn't recognize that, like, so the face recognition is like in the program. So like the 2D live thing, or live 2D, it's just manipulating the image and then putting it into like FaceRig, or like there's like a VTuber one, and like all different kinds of stuff. Like this PRPR Live that I'm using, it's using my face, but it doesn't recognize that like how far to turn my head, so it's like whipping it. So depending on what program you use, that's what's going to make it recognize your face.
Cool.
And you mentioned VTubers, like that was something that was kind of covered a little bit yesterday, but it wasn't from anyone who was in the community or anything. So tell us more, like what is a VTuber? What's the community? Like, it seems to be a new trend coming more popular now on YouTube.
Yeah, I haven't been into it too long. I'd probably say like 6 months. But from my understanding, there is this company called Hollow Live, and they're like a Japanese idol company for streaming. And basically that's how it all started. It's called VTubers because it's called virtual YouTubers, and that's where the term came from. And that Hollow Live company makes VTuber idols, and they actually just came out with a whole like English set of like new characters and stuff. Everybody was flipping out about it, but anyways, and that's basically where it came from, because like all these characters on this Hollow Live thing can like sing, and they can dance, and they can do art, and they can like, they're like basic like Japanese idols, but they're for streaming. And that's where VTubers came from, is where they got really attached to these idols, and they're like, I want to become that. And then it just kind of switched over to like Twitch streaming, and that's, as far as I understand, where it came from.
So they get more range of motion with their models because they can do more, like it's the whole body, or?
Yeah, depending on what kind of models they have. So like sometimes if you do like a 3D model, you can have a full body tracking where you could actually be in your living room or wherever and it just tracks your entire body. It's crazy.
That's really, really wild.
Yeah, there's one person that has a hot tub and they can just like sit in it. And I'm like, how the hell? I'm like, how are you sitting in this virtual hot? I want to come in.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
So I guess Frank, you are still a little bit new to FaceRig. So
Yes.
you had BuffPup make your own FaceRig. I guess my question for you and Buff, since y'all have worked together, is about how much is one of these FaceRigs going to run you if you decide to hire like a freelancer? What are the rates looking like on that these days?
So the program itself has its own fee associated with
Okay.
it, and it does have some default avatars in there. So I commissioned Buff to do a custom avatar, and it's a pricey endeavor.
Sure.
You're asking for not just custom art to be done for you, so you have to imagine that it's the price of a custom art piece, but then also the rigging fee, which is an extra fee on top of that. So it's not just that you're commissioning art, but you're also commissioning for it to move and map to your face and for all of that programming to be done for you, essentially. So if it's something that you're willing to learn, you can take a piece of that cost off of your plate. But all said and done, it was several $100s in order for it to get all rigged up. And it was honestly a reasonable price for me anyway, because
I was gonna
like
say that's not bad.
right. That's enough for me, like in terms of just getting a piece of custom art. Like it's simple art, but I understand that like any piece of custom art is going to be hours of work, and especially in this regard, like Buff wasn't just drawing my avatar in Buff's style. I was asking her to adapt to a brand that I already have in place, which is for me a really important piece of my branding. But I was very, very grateful that Buff was willing and able to do that. So I was like,
yeah, and also I feel like I'm definitely on the lower end. Like some
Yeah.
of these FaceRigs will go up to like $1,000. Like I'm definitely, because my style is really cartoony, I try to keep it to like affordable but like lower side, as to where like there's like people that have like those anime characters that are full body and they can move their hands and they're up to like $1,000, which I think is very reasonable for the amount that they probably put in. And also people also charge for commercial use for like using the characters on stream, which I don't care that much about because I feel like everybody should be a VTuber because it's fun. So
That's awesome. So it's basically one of those things where if you're looking into getting into FaceRig, but you're not willing to actually learn it or do it yourself, just be prepared to make sure to spend a good amount of money for a very nice looking rig. Be polite to the artist you're working with, and just make sure to kind of support that little commission ring. I would say, Buff, that if you're only charging a couple $100s for something as cool as what you're doing in a very specialized craft, you can up that. You
I thought about it. I don't know. I don't know. I do streaming and art, so like to me, it's just kind of like a fun side project. So I'm not like, I don't know. I'm not like, give me the money. It's just kind of really fun for me.
You can have fun and make more money.
True facts. That is the way of life.
But that's a really useful information because like I had no idea what the price range would even look like for something like this because it's gorgeous. It's so complex.
Yeah. I think like starting, I mean, you have to remember that the art that I have is very simple, and like I knew that I was on the lower end when Buff quoted me. So I think what was it? Starting was like 300 to 500, I think. So it's not a pricey endeavor, and it's definitely something to kind of keep in mind. But yeah, it's worth it, I think, if you're going to do something, if you want it for long term, and you want it to be something that kind of like represents a full package branding deal, that I think it's worth it to pay the extra rather than just use one of the default avatars. But if you're just starting out, I know people who have made their brand one of the default avatars, so might as well just go for it. If you want to try it, try it.
Oh, for sure. And there's a whole bunch of like free avatars that you can download. Like another thing we like to do on stream is I like to make a whole bunch of just free avatars for people that can't afford like FaceRigs and stuff, because it's really expensive, because some people like live by paycheck to paycheck and still want to stream. So we've made a couple, like we've made like a cute little bat, we've made like a dragon, we've made like what else do we make? We made like a fox character, and people can recolor them and like change them to what they want, and that's really cool too. So there's a whole bunch on like the Steam Workshop that you can download.
How much is the software?
FaceRig itself is only like $10. I know that it's going to get discontinued soon because they're coming out with like animes and stuff. But there's also free ones. Like I'm using PRPR Live for this, and it's free. There's also another one you can download that where it doesn't have to use your computer. It uses your phone. It's called, I think it's called VTuber Live, and you just use a browser source from your phone to OBS, and then you can use it on your phone instead of the computer.
Yeah, and I was actually really surprised with just the default avatars, how much customization you can do. Like, I think that Red Panda is one of their like main mascot type characters, and you can change it up to like all sorts of different hues of colors, have hats on, goggles, all this different stuff, and like they have that for most of their characters, it seems.
Yeah, they're really I would say definitely with the 3D ones, they're very customizable in that sense. Like I have a lot of VTuber friends that use just like the main ones, and they're just different colored and stuff. And I think that's really great because it, I don't think you should make it expensive to stream a certain way because you don't want to be on webcam,
Mm-hmm.
It's cool how the range of affordability that the software and the characters offer.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I think one of the things I didn't realize either, like talking about going through some of the art stuff, like you have to draw different versions like of the eyes for each thing, like the left eye and the right eye, and then the eyebrows are all individual. Like every single part that gets animated is essentially its own unique little aspect into this, isn't it?
Yeah, so like my eyes are easy because they're just circles, so like they just squish. But like there's when you do a normal eye, you have to have a lid behind the eye so that when the eye closes, it covers up like the pupil, the iris, the white part and like the black part that's around the eye, so that when it blinks, it covers it all up, and then when it comes back open, it reveals the eyes. And then with like the iris and stuff, they have like their own trackers, and you can move them around. So like there's some that I've done where like it has like eye tracking movement, and you can like look around and stuff. I mean, mine doesn't, but
yeah. Which for that, like I know someone else in chat mentioned this too, like glasses users, are there any tips for people who wear glasses like to have that tracking? Because I notice sometimes with reflections it doesn't like my eyes.
Oh yeah, I mean I use glasses. Like I wear glasses. Sometimes you'll see my eye like twitch a little bit, but it's fine. I would just say just to have like a decent camera and good lighting, because I literally just open up my windows in the morning, and then that's my lighting, which is good enough for it to capture my face. But there are some times where I'll look down and my eyes just like that, and it's just
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's about minimizing the glare. Like I have a huge glare from my ring light, but I don't actually always use my ring light when I am actually it's one of the benefits of being in FaceRig is that I don't have to have a bright light necessarily shining in my face. So there's a lot less glare going on. And I think that helps. I think it helps to just like try like, the purest to your face as you possibly can.
Yeah, windows help.
Yeah, and it seems chat's talking a lot about this auto blinking thing, which is really kind of cool that like it just kind of brings life. Like I think I've seen things where like it makes it look like the character is breathing. Like that's one thing I noticed on Picto's character a lot too. Like you can see when her pup breathes, and that's just really cool.
Oh yeah, I made her so that it's like it breathes really big, so it looks like she has asthma. I just like it goes really far out, like it really stretches.
That's so cute.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are some of the things that go into designing like the like expressions and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, with you, Buff, you could do the little angry one, and Frank, did you get those added to like your kitty?
So I have not yet, because it was a budget thing for me, because they're an extra add-on that I will down the line. I wanted to know like what kinds of things I was thinking I would need. So I figured I would just use it for a little bit of time. before I went back into that, but they are, at least in Buff's breakdown of pricing, they're an extra add-on. So default is that like the face moves, and then I have the cat has a tail behind it that kind of auto sways behind me. So that's always kind of moving. The face moves, the eye moves, the mouth moves, but I don't have any of the added expressions. And those are, from what I understand, they're like hotkeys, right, Buff?
Yeah, so like you use them on your keyboard. I mean, I have a Stream Deck for them, which I consider easier, but they're basically just keyboard presses. So like if I go like that, I'm like, oh my God. Like, but like normally, so this is an animated one where you can see like it moving. And then a normal expression would be like this, where it doesn't, there's nothing moving. So that would probably cost less. But then you can also do things like this, where you just flex and it's just like really silly. And there's a lot of different things that you can do, or you can press all of them and go crazy, and then just have a breakdown.
Just have an emotional breakdown.
I love that.
So like, I guess animating those is kind of the same that you would animate the face, right? Where like, you know, you have to animate your blinks and your eyebrows and stuff, and then you map that to a hotkey.
Yeah, so like this, so like one of my hotkeys is like Alt 3 Shift Control, and that's like my crying or something.
Uh-huh. So does the animation, is it layered on your face, or is it a thing that goes over top of your face? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it layered on top, or is it part of your like face in the rig?
It's part of the face. Like they're technically always on, but what the button does is that it tells it to turn it on and off. So technically, like this is always on, like in going, but you just don't see it unless I like toggle it on.
Oh my gosh, this is blowing my mind.
I know, it's like it's so interesting to like know what's happening behind it when you don't make them, because like when I first figured it out, I was just like, how the hell? I was like, I don't understand any of that. Now that I know, sometimes I see people's FaceRigs and I'm like, oh, I see how they're doing that. I get that.
It's always fun when you kind of break down the magic behind it, because you all of a sudden you're like, I actually I could do this as well. I have an idea based on what you did just now.
It's so cool because just as an animator, you know, I love shit like this. It's so cool, and it's in like the same area of my profession. So like, just like it seems like a great software to just kind of like get into, you know.
It's really fun because I've animated, like that's how I felt as an illustrator. Like I was just like, oh my God, this is like the coolest thing ever. But like there's like, I have some animations on stream too, where if somebody redeems points, they can pet me or like poke at me and stuff. And I did all those animations in this program. Like you can do, instead of making characters and stuff, you can do like actual animation programs as well. And it's exactly like Flash. If y'all remember how Flash worked, where you would just move it and it would just like recognize that you moved it. Yeah, it's really good. People use it. There's some crazy stuff. If you look up live 2D things, there's somebody that made a video game where you can manipulate the world and it like turns around and it's all 3D and stuff, but it's actually just like it's just illustration. It's really cool.
Really neat.
Blowing my mind right now. Oh my gosh. I need to
have questions. Let me know, because I'd like to try to teach everybody, because in our Discord too, we have like a FaceRig section. So there's a lot of people learning how to make them. And we have like a questionnaire place, and because when I first learned, it's a Japanese program. So like I had to learn through Japanese, and I was just like, I don't know what any of this is. Like I can't read Japanese, and it took me like months to figure out how it works. But then once I figured it out, I was like, I must share this beautiful knowledge. So we have like a Discord section for it and everything. So
it's so kind of you, Buff. You're too pure, too good for this world.
No, talking about yourself so much.
I'm still processing this, Rini.
Yeah, same. I'm just like, I wanna do this. I wanna make
this.
Like
the best thing ever.
They're so fun. And like I said, there's people that are way better. Like I'm very baby. I would say I'm baby level. There's people that are like so crazy with the program. It's awesome.
Yeah. For someone who might be established as a cam streamer, or just they're IRL persona. What advice would you guys maybe give for someone who is looking to maybe get into avatar streaming or whatnot? Like, how would you suggest, like, do they just dive in deep and be like, okay, I'm a character now? Or is that sort of like a try it out just a little bit? Because, like, regardless, you should do what you want to do on your stream, and your community will stay if that's what they want. But, like, I don't know, how would you buffer? Like say, Frank, say you decided you wanted to be buddy 24/7 on your streams.
I think the answer to this is kind of twofold. It is, what sort of resources do you have at your disposal that you could potentially make a rig and like kind of do it right, quote unquote, so that you didn't have to have any kind of transitional period. But also, are you sure that you want to do it long term? Like, have you thought about the long term effects that it could or could not have on your stream? I'm used to being on camera, and I definitely notice that, especially since I don't have extra expressions and things like that with my FaceRig as of right now. I do feel like there are things that are lacking, and there are things that I just normally do or like pull with my face on camera that I don't get to share as much. So I think like if you had the wherewithal to like have all of that from the get, I don't see why not like diving straight into it. Like anything else, I think thinking about the branding and kind of like the long-term effects of it is the most important piece of that, because the last thing you want is to change it and then change the character again and then change the character again, because that's really where it's going to fall apart. I think more so than going from being a camera streamer to a non-camera streamer. I'm okay with doing transitional like no cam streams. I don't know if I'll ever like fully go to FaceRig, because I do like to have, I don't know, I like having my background, and I like being on camera too some days. But for me, like, I think if you were no longer comfortable being on camera and you're finding that that's the thing that's stopping you from streaming, better to stream than not to stream, right?
Okay.
I don't know, Buff, do you have thoughts about that?
Yeah.
I mean, I started pretty early, so like to me, there have been times where I've thought about updating like my character, and I just won't, because of the way that I can manipulate the face to make it look silly. And I don't want to lose that charm. So like what Frank was saying, like I think changing the character over and over and over again could like be really detrimental to like your streaming. So if you're going to pick a character and do it, I would say stick with it, and or make it so that you can like change it in like little formats. Like we have 3D versions of BuffPup, but they don't look like BuffPup. They're just different. But it's close enough to where it's like, okay, that's fine. But yeah, for like starting the VTubing stuff, I started pretty early in my career just because of I just didn't like being on webcam, and I'm very not animated in person, unlike Frank, who's just like so good at it, and I don't understand how. And I'm just like, I don't know how you can be that comfortable on webcam. I just can't. I can't do it. I don't know why. I've tried it. I've done webcam streams on like stream before, and I just hate it constantly. I just hate it.
Do you find your community ever being like poking you to try to do face reveals or things like that?
Yeah, there's some people that come in and they'll be like, why don't you show your face? What do you look like? But we have commands for that. So if you're really curious, we'd have like stuff for it. But I'm just like, I don't feel like it. I just don't want to be on webcam. But the people who are there all the time, they don't care. They're actually really supportive when I do a webcam stream. They get really excited when I do it, because they're like, oh, we don't get to see you that often. So I would say everyone's really supportive. It's just those random people that come in and they're just like, I'm so curious what you look like. I must know. And I'm like, okay.
You should be like, go follow my social media.
That's what I do. I'm like, it's on my Twitter. I don't know if you've heard of that, but.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
I think that it's a really interesting dynamic to be like, I think like it's interesting to hear like people who aren't on camera almost ever still getting like, what do you look like? Like, it's obviously clear that you're like, you don't look like a dog, maybe, I don't know.
Or do I?
Or do you? But it's funny because I still get it, even though like most of my streams are on camera. I do have people that are like, why is there a cat on the screen? or people who are from the community that come in and they ask like, why aren't you on camera today? And the answer is almost always because I don't feel like
it's not exciting as people expect it to be.
No.
Like I feel like people expect it to be like, well, I was in like this
a giant car accident.
science accident and my face is deformed and I can't be on it. Like it's
with the worst case of pink eye you've ever seen.
That's
But
so
no, it's
good.
literally like, I don't want to have the lights on.
Yeah. I'm a gremlin and I don't want to be looking at it. So.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Are FaceRig streamers like considered a part of the character streaming community, or is it like a more separate group? Like, are y'all
I think it's the
separate,
same.
or- okay.
I think
Yeah,
there are
'cause, like-
probably there's a huge amount of crossover, I would guess. Like,
Yeah.
I think
Like
if
they
you
started. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say they just started calling them VTubers because it was something that like people recognized instead of being like character streamer. When you say character streamer, people assume that you're playing a character.
Yeah,
Like,
they don't get it.
yeah, and so like I'm like, oh well, that's like I'm not really playing a character. I'm just not on webcam. So like the VTuber term was like bopping about. And since Twitch doesn't have a category anymore, they used to have a character creator or like a character category. And they got rid of it. So now we all have to put VTuber in our title to be like, this is what it is, so that people aren't shocked or jarred when they come in and they don't know what's going on.
That language is so interesting to me. It's like I knew it was like a meme and it was an artist meme to like get a randomly generated VTuber and then draw it. And I'm like, what is this? So it was like super important to now have this vocabulary. So I would have been like, oh, okay, so you're a character streamer. But no, it's different because you're not playing a character. You're just you, except a dog. Whereas like, Rocco's a cat, right? Like he's got all these quirky things that he does. He like poops in closets and stuff. It's a whole thing. But it's very different from this VTubing stuff. So that's amazing to find out.
Yeah, I feel like they're very close knit. Like I'm really good friends with Rocco, and I'm really good friends with like VTubers, and like so like I'm pretty sure they're very intertwined, I would say.
Yeah, I think the community is super it's one of the most supportive communities I've ever even peripherally been a part of. Everybody is just really kind and good to each other, and they just want everybody else to succeed. And it's like, even if you are, like I said, just peripherally part of it, they're like, we're so excited you're here. Even if you only come on Mondays, like, we're just happy to have you.
That's wholesome as hell.
It's really, it's very wholesome.
Yeah, we've had a couple of people in chat bring up the whole like issues with anxiety and cam streaming, and I think Frank, you can speak to this a lot because it's something you've dealt with, as also with just wanting to be off cam to give your skin and your body a chance to heal away from everyone but not miss your community.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of the reason that Buff isn't on camera like from the get. There are days that when I don't know, I know I'm like not what society would represent as like an ideal feminine body and an ideal feminine face. And this isn't a way to put myself down or anything like that. I love myself and I love the way that I look, but it invites, as I said earlier, it invites criticism. And some days I can handle that criticism and I can clap back and I can ignore it to high heaven and just pretend it's not happening. And then there are days that I'm just kind of a squish. And that like you look at me wrong and I'm just going to break down and I'm not going to handle it. And those are the days that I say, you know, I either don't go live. My option is either to not go live at all because I can't handle the potential of somebody coming in and saying something mean to me, or I could go live without a camera so that that person doesn't even have a chance to know what I look like. And so anything that they might be saying, they're making up. They have no idea. And there's like kind of a power in that to me. And those are honestly the days that I go live without a camera. And those are the days that I go live with FaceRig now. It was previously just no camera. And now I have the FaceRig to just kind of engage a little bit more, which I love. And it's a lot more fun for me. And I think it's a lot more fun for the community. And I'm really excited about it. It's something that's kind of been in the works for a long time, and finally seeing it like come to fruition and to have that it makes those hard days a lot easier for sure.
Yeah, and especially when people come in to like quote unquote make fun of you. When they make fun of like this stupid orange dog, like it's not hurting my feelings. Like it's just it's like kind of like a barrier between people and then like you. So it's kind of just like having like a little shield to be like, oh, you can't get me because I'm a dog.
So who's saying anything bad about a dog?
Right?
Dogs are all the
I know,
goodest.
right? People who hate dogs aren't even human. It doesn't make any
Honestly,
sense.
agree. We have a cool question in chat, very serious question from Say Hey Rocco. Who doesn't love a cartoon bebopping around?
Right? Saturday morning cartoons. Come on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It is funny how people try to come in and hurt y'all, even though you are just like characters. Like, oh, you're really gonna get so offended at Frank being a cat today? Ooh, oh man.
Bummer. I get a lot of people that come in and they're just like, ew, this is so cringe. And I was just like, well, I'm the one having fun, so I don't know about you.
Anytime somebody comes in and is criticizing like the FaceRig part of the stream and not something to do with my personality or anything like that, like that's the thing that they first came in and latched onto of like, this is weird, this is cringy, I don't like this. I'm like, that's a you thing. That's not a me thing. Like, I'm having a great time. This is adorable. And I think if you are having a problem with this, then like you need to go have a problem with that somewhere else. Like go have a thought away from me.
It just seems silly that somebody would be angry at a cartoon. Like it's not even real.
I'm so mad.
It makes me laugh.
So mad. It's a cute thing.
God, I can't believe this stupid dog is having a good time on the internet. Dang it.
So funny. I feel like it's similar to like, so I'm a non-binary streamer and people will come in and be like, oh, you look like a boy. And I'm like, thanks. Oh wow, you're so upset about this random arbitrary thing about me. Good job.
I get that a lot because my character is like really buff and it doesn't have a gender, and I'll get a lot of people that come in, they're like, what the hell are you? I'm like, does it matter?
Dog.
I'm just a dog.
No, but like, are you a boy or a girl? Bark.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, having that avatar there really is that like nice sort of protective shield. And I know something that Loco brought up yesterday was this idea of like when trolls come into your streams, if you have a cam on, they can see your reaction right then and there. And I mean, with FaceRig, it can kind of capture some of your facial reactions to some things, but it's not the same like dramatic sigh or something or eye roll. Like it's not going to capture that as much.
Right. I mean, FaceRig captures when you move your eyebrows, your eyes, and your mouth, right? Or like move your head around, but it's not capturing how you're doing those things. So it's capturing like versus the same way, right? Yeah. Like those are the same expression unless you add on some kind of like additional hotkey expression. So that's exactly it. Is like if somebody were to come in and it's not capturing any of the nuance of like pain behind your eyes because they said something mean to you. It might capture the fact that you like squinted at them like, really, bud? But beyond that, yeah, you can very much kind of like almost hide behind the FaceRig a little bit. It's enough to make it feel like it's capturing enough of your expression to make it feel like it's like you can connect with that person, but not so much that you feel like you're basically just on camera anyway.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I like to give the example of like if I were to be like, oh my god, I'm so excited, or if I went, oh my god, I'm so excited, oh I love that. Like there's a difference between doing the expressions and then also not doing the expressions. And I think if you're just not in the mood and you're like, ugh, that was bothering me, like if I say that right now, it's kind of dissociating that I literally just looked like, ugh, like I hate, like but they can't see that unless I physically press the button. So I think it's kind of nice to be able to like, I can roll my eyes and they're just never going to see that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Which then gives the mods like a little extra time to just deplatform a troll, get them out of there. And like more and more communities are doing things of like, let the mods handle it. You don't need to acknowledge their existence at all. If it gets deleted, it's gone. Just don't talk about it. And it's kind of nice then because it's like the troll just wants a reaction, and they're either going to get this overly exerted cartoon reaction or just nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love the idea of these extra cartoony reactions because for me, I have a lot of anxiety about performance and whatnot, and so it just feels like if I'm just pushing a button, like I can make it seem like I have way more control over my emotions and my face than I actually really do. And so like that's why I'm kind of drawn to FaceRig right now. It's just the idea of like maybe I can be more myself if I know how it's going to look on camera, and I'm not worried about things like what is my hair doing, what are my headphones, like are my teeth awkward in this picture, which no one pays attention to your teeth when you're streaming, like
Right?
yeah.
Now I'm like hyper conscious of my teeth.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. Whenever I'm like talking on stream, my face is very neutral. Like I have I would call it the resting bee face is what I got. So like me on webcam is just not, I don't know. I feel like it's not like really interesting to look at. So it is really nice to be able to be like, ooh, like that, and like have expressions to be able to do that instead of, because right now my face probably looked like I was half asleep when I did that. So
oh my gosh. What is it like to stream with other like VTubers, specifically like Frank or Buff? Have y'all done that? And how chaotic is it? Because it seems like a really good time.
I have not, but Buff.
I've done it with my boyfriend before. He doesn't use his FaceRig often, but he has one. And I tell people, I said, whenever you come over to my stream, you turn into a cartoon. And so that's like the joke. So like he'll come over to my stream and he'll be like this pink little rabbit. And we'll have him on one side and then I'll be on the other side. And it's actually really cute because like you can just see both of us interacting with each other. But there's some people that have they'll have like 3 or 4 FaceRigs like going on at once. And it's just because they're capturing the Discord call and they like all have the webcam on.
You can do that on Discord?
Yeah, so like you can capture FaceRig on Discord. And if you have a green screen behind it, you can just capture the green screen behind that. There's Cheyenne. Yeah, right there. And so like you can just capture all of them, and it's basically just like webcam, but you just like have like everybody on stream.
Right. That's so cool.
It's really fun because right now I have a green screen on, but it shows it up as black because of the program, but it's technically a green screen that's on right now.
That's so cool. And like that probably reduces the amount of technical difficulties you have to deal with as well. Cause like I know any streamer always has the issue of, all right, well, how are we going to stream all the faces and all of the things, as well as like my screen and also maybe like their screen or like whatever y'all are doing. But then if you're VTubers, you just hop in a Discord call and then there you go.
And there you go. It's easy. AutoLive actually does it really well. The company I was talking about, they just did a 4-person FaceRig stream where it had all 4 of them and they were all interacting. Well, actually 5 of them. There's 5 of them. They were all interacting with each other.
Okay.
It was really cool.
That's really neat.
Do you find that it's ever difficult working with someone else in a FaceRig situation where or do you just have to learn how to read reactions and kind of get used to each other's timing with speech and whatnot?
I think a lot of people who do like FaceRig and vtubing and stuff really express with their voice more than their face. So you can definitely tell when they're like happy or sad or like frustrated. Cause like when normally people are streaming, they're like, oh my God, that's amazing. Or like, gosh, dang it. Like it's like it's very cartoon levels of expression when it comes to their pronunciations and stuff. And I think it makes that a lot easier too.
I think like that goes with any collab really, like
like for
learning
sure.
like timing of when people are done talking or when their point is over or whatever, when it's time for you to respond to that. That's something that I think is not different probably outside of like VTuber or not. You're always going to be learning that with no matter who you're collabing with. But yeah, I
very
agree.
Streamer thing.
Yeah, it's just a streamer. Streamer things.
Trying to see if we have any final questions before we wrap up for the evening.
I think Megan was asking how hard it is to do the key commands for emotions.
Oh, I mean, it took me a while to get used to it, but like now I just don't even have to look at it. Now I can just put my hand on it on the Stream Deck and understand where things are at. But definitely for like, I would say for the first month, I was fumbling a lot with trying to use the expressions and stuff. But once you have it all laid out the way that you want it, I think it's pretty easy to figure out.
And do you keep that fairly close to like where you're going to be either gaming or just near? Because being on stream, like we don't actually need our keyboards that often, but they're still within reach. Like it's just a nice, comfortable distance for you then.
Yeah, it's literally right next to me. Like where my left hand lays is exactly where it's at.
Nice.
So it's really nice. I have one stream, like I have a XL Stream Deck for like all the scenes and sounds and stuff. And then I have a small Stream Deck for just the expressions and all the other stuff. So it's kind of like, I feel like I'm like on Star Trek when I have like all like the buttons and stuff. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, a whole command unit.
Yeah.
That's awesome though.
Love
I
that.
have a question. What are some like very common newbie technical difficulties that are just like infuriating to deal with? Like as someone who, I mean, I'm probably going to go and buy the program right after this. Like as someone who's very new or someone who's curious about getting into FaceRig, what's a common mistake that newbies make that can be avoided, or like if this happens, like here's how you fix it?
I would say like figuring out the resolution of the character and also like cutting it off. Like if I go into this, I can zoom out or like I can rotate. Here, I'll rotate myself. But there's actually no bottom half. And like a lot of people will just have it to the point where it's very close to the bottom so that when they rotate like this, that their like body like shows a little bit or like the bottom and it's just like, oh, that's not supposed to be there. Or like the resolution sometimes will be like, so, which is like, it took me a really long time to get the resolution good until I got two computers. So like one computer runs OBS and FaceRig and stuff. And then the other computer runs all like the games and stuff. And that's unfortunately how it had to happen for it to look decent. But I think when you have a computer, like one computer, and then trying to make FaceRig work with those games, it kind of took a really long time to find some sort of perfect balance between the two so your computer like doesn't explode.
I agree. The first time I put my rig up, I sent Buff a picture and was like, "Thank you," and she was immediately like, "No, honey, like that looks you need to fix your resolution." Like, I was like, "Yeah, it's fuzzy. I don't know why." I didn't even realize that there was a resolution option. As a new person, I would also say learning how to calibrate and recalibrate really quickly, because it can lose track of what your facial expressions are doing. So learning how to like really quickly recalibrate the program to your face. Just having that, like, it doesn't do anything like when you're looking at the program as a viewer. So learning how to do that on the back end really quickly was helpful for me, because otherwise it does not always pick up it like forgets sometimes to pick up your facial expression.
Yeah, you have to like look straight at the camera and just like make no expression and then recalibrate it. And I try really hard to do it without people noticing. And I'll be like, oh, I'm just going to take a drink. And then I'll just pretend that I'm drinking so that my face is straight ahead. And then I'll just recalibrate it real quick. But
that's stealthy.
Yeah, I found myself when I was setting mine up, like I kept wanting to look at where the FaceRig app was when I was calibrating. I'm like, no, like I gotta look at my camera now, which is partially why my camera has two little googly eyes, so I make more eye contact with my camera now.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Oh my gosh.
I stole that one from Taffy. He puts little hats on it every season too.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, we're about out of time, so I want to thank you both so much for this. We're gonna have to Buff, get you back on to do a nice workshop sometime with Karli, maybe to people really how do you do this? Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great time because yeah, I'm intrigued too, because like I want to learn more about this. I want to learn how to do it, and so I want to thank you both for being here. Buff, tell us more about yourself and where people can find you.
You can find me on Twitch, BuffPup, Twitter, BuffPup, and then like a little underscore. And I basically just do illustrations and FaceRigs, and I have a website with all the information on it as well, which I believe it's, oh gosh, I think it's called BuffPupCommissions.card. Oh, there you go. Perfect. And that has literally everything on it. So, But yeah, I always stream from Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. EST as well. So if you want to come check it out, that's where I'll be most of the time. And then I'm just kind of on the internet, just vibing.
Just living on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frank, tell us more about you.
I am FrankthePegasus. I stream on Twitch. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I'm all the places that you could ever want me to be, and then some. FrankthePegasus across the board. I stream 5 days a week over on Twitch, and I start at 11 o'clock Central Time, so it's noon Eastern. And yeah, we out here vibing too. We mostly just vibing.
And Karli.
Oh, hi, I'm Karli. I'm an animator in LA. I work on cartoons and stuff like that. So this whole segment is like blowing my mind right now. You can find me Karli Cartoons. I stream. I used to have a schedule and then I got rid of it because I got burned out. I stream sometimes. You can usually find out when I'm live on my Twitter at Karli Cartoons, which is also where I post my art and general talking about Midnight Gospel usually. So just go for it, Rini.
And I'm Rini. I am the COO here of StreamerSquare. You can find me mornings at McLaffy Taffy, modding there, and then about noon I hop over to Frank's stream where I'm also a mod and hang out over there. Otherwise, I'm here at StreamerSquare all the time. You can find me in the Discord, on our Twitter. Just if you have any streaming questions, reach out to us there. Our Discord community has some really great people in it that are there to not only help you find the troubleshooting answers that you have, but just to build a strong streamer community. So if you want more streamer friends and don't know where to find them, it's right here.
Come hang out with us, y'all.
I love friends. Friends are amazing.
Friends. Friendship. Yes. And so we want to thank you so much for joining us for Behind the Streams this evening. There's no Dan Stream of Thought tonight, so this is the last show of the day. Tomorrow we've got Hotfix with Lucid and Monkeyism, and so they'll have some great new things for you. And then after that, we have a workshop diving deep into YouTube with Mac and Cheese.
It's gonna be awesome, y'all.
Yeah.
That nitty gritty.
Yes, the nitty gritty of YouTube, stuff that I don't know. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you guys again on our next show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Everybody